Without putting the memory under too much pressure, a new series and a new decade now on BBC Two. Very strong language included.
Hello, I'm Sheryl Lee, but in 1990, I was Laura Palmer. Welcome to the decade. So, we were kids in the 70s, teenagers in the 80s, and we weren't about to grow up in the 90s. Music, TV, film, and fame. It was the decade when we wanted it all, and we were going to get it. So here it is, 10 years in 10 weeks, 10 shows of the best things in life from the 90s. And we begin in 1990, a very special year for me, and a great year for you.
My definition.
Magic.
My definition is this. My definition.
Expressed.
My definition is this. My definition.
The body.
My definition is this. My definition.
In 1990, I starred in the most talked about TV show of the year. There was a log and a lady, cherry pie, and a damn fine cup of coffee. Oh, and a dancing dwarf that talked backwards. My role called for blue lips and no clothes. But I was wrapped in plastic. Welcome to Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks was the best thing I'd ever seen on TV. It was just so incredibly different to anything else that had come before it.
It became this cult TV show after one episode, and people were absolutely engrossed by it and fascinated by it, and if you weren't in that gang, you really felt like you ought to be.
It was the perversion of suburbia, normality gone sour. I was addicted to it. You knew that there was spooky business afoot because the music was just so darn scary.
I mean, everybody thought they knew what was going on. It's kind of like sex when you're 12. You know, you pretty much have an idea, vague idea, but then when it comes down to it, you know, it was a lot more involved than you thought it was.
I remember thinking I'd like to do something truly subversive. I felt I wanted to go back to a kind of Hayden Place, 50s style, simple small town values with, you know, a seamy underbelly. The initial response was totally unexpected. It landed like a hydrogen bomb on pop culture in America. It was like being strapped to the tip of a rocket.
It was such a success from right out of the gate. It seemed to really spark conversation.
I was never like the biggest David Lynch fan, so when he first came on, I thought, oh, it's going to be a load of hype. But I really liked it. You know, all sort of strange, quite atmospheric. I thought it was brilliant. I can't for the life of me remember what happened.
Morning, Pete. Harry.
She's dead. Wrapped in plastic.
Laura, what's her name?
Laura got killed. Is it who killed Laura Palmer? Was that her name?
Good Lord, Laura. Laura Palmer.
David Lynch asked me how I would feel about being the corpse, put in freezing cold water and wrapped in plastic. I was actually thrilled because I had absolutely no experience whatsoever in film. So to be able to just lay there as a dead person was the best education I could have gotten. I felt like a silent sponge, just soaking it all up.
It's the story of the life of a small town in the Pacific Northwest in the aftermath of the murder of their most popular young woman, the high school homecoming queen. And it reveals the network of secret relationships and intrigues going on below the surface of this small town.
Begin with a murder mystery, everyday TV event, get everybody interested, and then start to play with their minds.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks, 5 miles south of the Canadian border, 12 miles west of the state line. Never seen so many trees in my life.
Special Agent Dale Cooper, the FBI.
Lunch was $6.31 at the Lamplighter Inn. That's on Highway 2 near Lewis Fork.
He had a fastidiousness about him and a real love and joy that was sort of irrepressible.
That was tuna fish sandwich on whole wheat, slice of cherry pie, and a cup of coffee. Damn good food.
I think Cooper was best known for his particular affinity for coffee and cherry pie.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present.
Somehow, ordering a cup of coffee could be turned into such an extraordinary thing, because in the end, that's a miracle too, you know.
Could be a new shirt at the men's store, a cat nap in your office chair, or 2 cups of good, hot, black coffee. Like this. A present. Like Christmas.
That great kind of puppy dog enthusiasm he had was so original and so appealing.
Man, that is the spot.
Now he's my idea of a bit of boy crumpet, I must say. I like that. I like that kind of the buttoned up to the collar nerd.
Everybody on Twin Peaks was shaggable. Everybody. Even the woman with one eye and the eye patch who was mad for the curtain.
I remember Sheryl Lee. Who was she in it? Who cares?
And I'll have the grapefruit juice. Just as long as those grapefruits are freshly squeezed.
Audrey Horn.
My name's Audrey Horn.
Federal Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Audrey Horn, lovely Audrey Horn. And she was a little, sex kitten. I mean, she was really something.
Sherilyn Fenn, oh my gosh, she had this great, sultry, young Elizabeth Taylor look. The beauty mark, the pouting lips, the ample cleavage, the wasp waist. I mean, she was just luscious. Just wanted to squeeze her.
She was spectacular.
Well, we wanted Audrey to look like a kind of 50s dream, but with the mind of a completely perverse and dark and dangerous woman.
I'm not shy.
I was looking for a way to really nail Audrey as a character. One of the guys on staff had a girlfriend who could actually do this trick.
Can she touch her nose with her tongue? Can she flick her tongue like that in some way? Can she roll it round?
You mean she tied a cherry stalk into a knot? Yes.
With her tongue? Oh my God. That would be popping the cherry, would it not? I think it would.
Sign here. I think people tried to do that afterwards, and yeah, we failed miserably.
I managed it once.
I'm proud to say. And any suggestions that I tied it before I put it into my mouth will be strongly refuted.
Who's the lady with the log?
We call her the log lady.
The log lady became a kind of popular character, possibly because of the ponderosa pine. I have to give credit where credit's due.
Log lady. Right. Hi.
So suddenly, you're in a world where a woman has a pet log. Don't laugh, because it's not funny.
Can I ask her about her log? Many have.
Oh my gosh, the log lady! The way she cuddled that piece of bark. Reminds me of my mother. Yeah.
For your information, I heard you speaking about Laura Palmer.
Yes?
One day, my log will have something to say about this.
You could see the log lady going on to be in Dallas or Dynasty, or going into the, the Bold and the Beautiful.
We used to say that the log and I never flew on the same plane, but in fact we did. Flight attendants would say, "Oh, excuse me, are you the..." And I'd say, "Yes, I am, and guess who's up above us?" They'd go, "Oh my God, can we see the log?" It means a lot to people.
Cooper's dreams were some of the most interesting and unusual sequences that have really ever been seen on television.
Those dreams that always involved dead Laura Palmer and Agent Cooper sitting in the middle of it trying to work out what it all meant.
I personally loved that dream space room because there were no rules in that room.
The show was so demanding, story-wise, that occasionally we'd end up with a loose thread in the middle of filming that no one could remember what it had to do with anything. You know, we ran into these weird little cul-de-sacs. Then, David would, bring a midget in and we'd shoot our way out of it.
I'm sure a dwarf. Yeah, there was definitely a dwarf.
Midget that comes backwards.
Yeah.
Yes, all that, Laura Palmer.
It feels quiet. No, we're sometimes my arms
and that would carry on for about half an hour. So by the end of it, literally you would feel as if your mind had been melted, and you were no nearer finding out who had done it.
Everyone thought that we knew who had killed Laura, but we didn't know. Even I didn't know until the very end. There were many possibilities of who it could have been.
Who did it in the end?
Her father. Leland Palmer killed Laura, but the manifestation of Leland's dark half was Bob.
When I get grey hair, I think if I keep it long, and I kind of go,
I look like Bob. I promise I will kill again.
I think we were able to succeed and break all the rules because we never set out to obey any of them. There was a feeling of kind of getting away with something that was pretty delightful.
I think there's enough ordinariness on television and enough boring, obvious things that why not? Why can't there be that kind of weirdness and strangeness and tantalizing quality? And so for me, I couldn't get enough of it.
Hip-hop had always been serious business. But in 1990, hip-hop went pop, and rap went bubblegum. In January 1990, Vogue magazine's front cover featured the 5 faces of the 90s. They were the supermodels, and they were bigger than fashion. car ads had always been all tires and testosterone. But in the caring, sharing 90s, ad land turned to the new man and the year's must-have accessory, a gorgeous child. Any ma or pa would be happy to say, my boy is going to be a lawyer or a doctor. So you have to feel sorry for Henry Hill's parents, because all Henry ever wanted to be was a gangster. Still, he got his own movie. The mob masterpiece Goodfellas told his life story and was the film of 1990. Every year has its dance. Some, like the twist, are for everyone. Others, like this one, should only be attempted by the gifted few. Strike a pose. Take a bunch of plasticine zoo animals and get them to talk about the weather and what's for dinner. Who'd have thought that would win an Oscar? But it did. For years, football meant hooligans, not heroes. Then the game got a miracle. The World Cup Italia 90. High drama, tears, and a football song that went to #1. Have you ever sat and counted the minutes, the hours, and the days since your loved one left you? Sinead O'Connor did. And it was precisely 7 hours and 15 days. Before 1990, cartoons were for kids, Looney Tunes with lovable characters. Then cartoons grew up. They got real. They got Bart. In 1990, all you needed was a keyboard and a drum machine, and anyone, anywhere could come up with a killer track and get to #1. Staying there was the problem. Just ask Adamski. So that was our 1990. We had fun, didn't we? Damn fine year. See ya.
In 1990 saw John Cusack team up with Angelica Houston and Annette Bening, trying to outsmart each other in the movie The Grifters, and that's coming up next on BBC Two.
Next week, guess what? It's 1991.
Taking the top of the penis and you, oh my God! Candy floss twat that everybody saw wasn't me.
Anytime I saw them live, he always screwed up the song.
One of the best looking in the world, but get a tail to tail when he played his own one.
A fat, overweight Italian man in a boiler suit.
I can't get in the canal. It's got to be a screaming, baying,